Fancy meeting you here again. Anyways, I'm going to dive right in just because I know I've got a lot to say and I'm trying to get through as much as possible so that you guys don't have to come back and watch me another time if you don't want to. Which on that note, I should probably remind you, if you want to reach out, if you have questions, if you want to have a conversation just to kind of talk through some of these, ask questions about your specific situation, absolutely DM me, email me, do something, let's chat. I'm happy to talk about the market and how it's impacting specific situations, because as I keep saying, right now I'm talking very, very generalized, which is a little bit of a no-no for me, but trying to get as much information out there as possible. Anyways, what I covered last night, it was kind of leading up to 2020. We were expecting it to be another a little bit challenging year in the fact that we would sell a lot of homes, but the deals would be a little bit more difficult. We were knee deep in a presidential election. We were coming off of impeachment trials. We had talks of war. We had talks of recession. Obviously, we came into this knowing all of these things were going on and thinking that it's going to be a more challenging year from that perspective. In the beginning of the year, as I mentioned last night, we saw a little bit of what I thought was a fake seller's market. The reason I called it a fake seller's market is because all of the writing on the wall just showed a lot of things that cause speculation. I always say anything that causes a consumer to think and pause usually makes our market a little bit more challenging. And there was a lot of pause and a lot of thought process. So that's why the writing on the wall was that it shouldn't be much of a seller's market, but we were feeling the impact of it. Part of that was also driven by the fact that interest rates were really compelling. So we had buyers out there, not as many sellers, in compelling interest rates, all happening at the same time. And buyers were anxious to get under contract and take advantage of those rates. So then tonight, what I really want to kind of focus on is the recession element of all of this. For the weeks leading up to this, there'd obviously been a lot of talk of recession. And what I told my clients time and time again is whether we go into a recession or whether we spend 12 months talking about going into a recession, the impact on real estate could be fairly similar, because once again, it's that speculation and the pause that really has impact on our markets. That being said, the question mark for me really is a recession that bad for the housing industry? We have data back on the last 8 recessions. And data's an amazing thing. I'm a data junkie. Everybody knows that about me. So I like to tap into history to kind of see where we've been. It doesn't tell us exactly where we're going, but it gives us a good idea. So essentially what we did is, in studying these last 8 recessions, a recession doesn't mean that housing is going to struggle. In fact, we've seen actually the opposite. What we've noticed in 6 out of the last 8 recessions, that the home values, very generalized nationwide, have actually shown positive growth throughout the recession. That's pretty surprising to a lot of people, but once again, we're tapping into the data. So 6 out of the last recessions, the housing industry saw growth during a recession. And the 2 times it didn't, one time, and it depends which study and which data you're looking at, you're going to see that it was down somewhere between about 1.6 and 1.9%. Now, a little bit my own philosophy, if anything is up or down 2%, in my mind, that's kind of a flat market. But even still, so one of the times we saw a negative 1.6 to 9, depending who you're going to trust, percent, which is a very small margin. The other time is the Great Recession, which obviously that was the last recession that we went through, and that's the one that everybody's remembering right now. We've studied the Great Recession ad nauseum at this point, and we have a lot of data on it because it was our most recent recession. What we've been able to really kind of take a look at with regards to that is to understand that it became a housing crisis. But before it was a housing crisis, it was a mortgage crisis and a financial crisis. The fact of the matter is before we stepped a toe into that recession, a large majority of Americans were underwater on their homes. This was because the mortgage industry had gotten us all very excited to use our homes as collateral for other things. So people were using their homes to buy other homes, cars, vacations, TVs, pretty much just about everything. So we were using our homes as collateral for other things so that our homes were over leveraged, and then we got into trouble. And that was how the iceberg tipped. Once again, a lot of other things. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for us to just be able to digest and understand it. Long story short, short story long, we're not in that place right now. We're not where our homes are over leveraged, and we haven't seen excessive growth up to this point in our home values. We've been very steadily increasing in our market, but we haven't seen some of the excessive growth that we saw prior to 2008. So we don't have excessive growth. We don't have over leveraged homes. It's a very, very different market. I'm going to go a little bit more into that topic the next time we talk, but I just wanted to kind of put it out there tonight, really centering in on the fact that a recession, which I think we can all agree that we're either in or we're going into a recession, but that doesn't necessarily mean that home values are going to take a step backwards or go in a negative direction. So that's it for tonight. Once again, everyone, please continue to be kind in any means that you possibly can. Take care of one another, take care of yourselves, be safe. Take this time to self-reflect. Let's agree that we come out of this as a better version of ourselves on the backside. I'm very excited to be a part of that backside with you. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.